and then let it take effect, so...
Yeah. Chocolate, Belinda's drug of choice. And trust me, you would think she was on cocaine.
I ran out of Snickers.
Yeah. Alrighty, so... Chocoholic fish at London Aquarium ate nothing but Kit Kats. Belinda, why did you sneak into the London Aquarium?
I didn't feed it the first one.
Liar. From August 2nd. Staff at a London aquarium have managed to wean a chocoholic fish raised on Kit Kats onto a healthier diet, Sky News reported today. Staff members at the Sea Life London Aquarium initially could not understand why Gary, an inherited 4-kilogram, 40 centimeters long
Gourami.
Refused to eat. They later discovered that he had been fed nothing but chocolate by his previous owners, known as Belinda.
Hey, the only fish I ever owned I killed.
By chocolate. To gradually wean Gary off his unhealthy diet, the team began feeding Gary Kit Kat pieces inside grapes. Gouramis usually eat a diet of fruit, but Gary doesn't appear to have suffered any ill effects from his chocolate addiction, said aquarium staff member Rebecca Carter. I have never heard of a fish being fed chocolate because you've never been to Belinda's house, let alone being brought up entirely on the stuff because you've never been to Belinda's house, she added. However, we would not recommend feeding fish confectionery of any kind, Belinda.
Chocolate's expensive. I'm not sharing it with the damn fish. No way. No, look, I have a really, really bad history with fish. Okay, the first birthday present that I ever bought my husband before we were ever married, like we just started dating, was I got him a Siamese fighting fish. You know, I got its little tank and everything, and it was really beautiful. It was like all in blues and teals and everything. And I wake up the morning to give it to him, and it's dead. I'm like...
I mean, oh.
I did exactly what the instructions said to do. You know, I'd been good to this fish, and it died, and I'm like, well, crap, now what am I going to get him?
A dead fish, apparently.
I kind of, you know, I waited a few weeks to tell him what I'd actually got him, but he was like, oh well. And, you know, I think I've had one goldfish since then, and it died. And I didn't try to feed it chocolate, so...
Yeah, so she says.
It committed suicide. It jumped out of the tank.
Did it run away from home too, Belinda?
No, it jumped out of the tank. I came home and the cat's there going, and, you know, it must have only just happened, like, you know, dead enough that the cat had had a go at it, but yeah. Yeah, don't give me fish unless it's on a plate with chips. Although you can have the chips. So.
Yay!
Okay, my one.
Yay!
Okay, this one kind of sucks a little bit, but, you know. Okay, Italian mourner killed by lightning while scattering brother's ashes, from August 3rd. A grieving sibling was killed by lightning as he scattered his brother's ashes at a remote alpine mountain top, Italy, Carrera della Sera. I'm sure I just massacred that, but whatever. Reported yesterday. Federico Dean, 41, chose the picturesque Joff di Montasio. Don't you love my accent? Peak in the Julian Alps, because it was in the favourite spot of his younger brother, reported Italy's Carrera della Sera yesterday. But after sprinkling the remains and saying final goodbyes to the sibling he lost in a car crash last June, Dean became caught up in a storm. The married dead of one, from Trieste, northeastern Italy, was struck by lightning as he tried to climb down a ladder and fell to his death, the newspaper said. Okay, I'm pretty sure that it doesn't matter what height you scatter the ashes from, so what was he doing on a ladder?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Before you got to the ladder bit, I was like, oh, he was just walking around and bam! God said no. But apparently he was on a ladder.
Yeah, because, being on a ladder in a storm is such a good idea.
Yeah, that's the only thing that would have been better is if he'd been holding an umbrella with a metal thing on the top of it, or holding a giant lightning rod.
Or if the actual urn was metal.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
That'd be like, I strike you down.
Please note, we are not turning this into something funny. We're adding the humor to take the really sadness out of it.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
In the words of my daughter in about 3 weeks, because she'll probably learn it soon, sucks for him. So, yeah. Alrighty, your turn.
Oh, yes, I wanted this one too. I think, is this the one that I showed you?
Yes.
Sweet. Alright. Sect leader warns of death to those who prosecute the church. By CNN Wire staff on July 30th. San Angelo, Texas. A Texas judge warned Warren Jeffs against calling for the jury's destruction shortly after the polygamous sect leader said Friday during his sexual assault trial that those who prosecuted his church would face sickness and death. That's marriage, you... Sorry. The comments that precipitated the warning to Jeffs, who has been granted the right to represent himself, occurred around midday after Judge Barbara Walther, not Walters, even though she does have a bit of a lisp, so it can be easily confused, had sent the jury out of San Angelo courtroom. I, the Lord God of heaven, asked the courts... Wait, I, the Lord God of heaven. So he thinks he's God?
Apparently.
Okay. I, the Lord God of heaven, ask the courts to cease the prosecution of my holy ways. Jeff says, there will be judgment against all those who prosecute the church. I shall let all people know of your unjust ways. I will bring sickness and death. Let this cease. Walther told him that if you call for the jury's destruction while the jury, who will decide if Jeffs is guilty on 2 counts of sexual assault on a child, is present, you will be removed from the courtroom. That's it.
Okay. A, I'm glad I'm not on that jury. And B, I think he needs to go in for a psychiatric evaluation.
If I were on that jury, because it is a sexual assault thing on a child, I would probably push for the death penalty.
I thought all the polygamy stuff was in Utah, not in Texas.
Well, I mean, there is a huge, believe it or not, a huge polygamist movement. And this is actually not the first one like this in Texas. There was one in Waco, Texas, a while ago. Like a really, really long while ago. It was basically a cult. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was bombed. It was a long, long time ago. I don't quite remember it all. But they were the religious fanatics. They believed in polygamy and all of this, and it was really, really bad. So this is not the first one they've seen, so they tend to take this very seriously. Of course, it's Texas, so he may very well get the death penalty just because he looked at someone strangely.
Okay. Next one's mine. Yay.
Yes.
Okay. Giant rat kills predators with poisonous hair. From August 2nd. By utilizing the same plants that African tribesmen used to poison their arrows, the fairy fury, there you go, known as the African crested rat, can incapacitate and even kill predators many times its size, researchers have found. This is the first mammal that is borrowing a deadly poison from a plant and slathering it on itself without dying. said study researcher Jonathan Kingdon of Oxford University in England. This is an extraordinary thing to have evolved. Growing up in Africa, Kingdon was frequently exposed to these rats, even keeping one very cautiously as a pet.